Okay, welcome to another Vintage League here. Today we're playing Blue Spells White Dragon. The dragon being the new Tarkir Dragonstorm card, Super Nullrod Clarion Conqueror. Now this card is one of the top couple, and I think in a lot of people's minds, the number one card for Vintage out of the set. It is flying, activated ability of artifact creatures and planeswalkers can't be activated 3/3 flyer. So you get a pretty reasonable clock. A 3/3 flyer is no slouch. On top of that, you get a Null Rod, and you also get a Null Rod for creatures like, importantly, Psychic Frog, Deathrite Shaman, and then planeswalkers, notably here, things like Oko and Karn. That is quite nice. But it's got a catch to it. It costs 3 mana, and this is vintage. You want to play it before turn 3, but you can't ramp it out, or if you ramp it out with artifacts, this turns them off. And if you ramp this out with something like a Deathrite Shaman, it turns off the Deathrite Shaman. So you either have to play this on curve, or you got to get a little bit creative with how you're going to ramp this out and how to make mana in the deck. So the obvious card here is to play it with Ancient Tomb. And this is what Mono White Initiative does. A Mono White Initiative, is probably the most obvious home for this card, being it is a White Hate Bear, and Mono White Initiative is the White Hate Bear deck. But Mono White Initiative plays like 10-15 pieces of artifact mana, something crazy. And a lot of times they're going to go Mox land this guy. Or that would be like the obvious play pattern, for the hand that you keep, where or you risk playing like a White Plume or something on turn 1 before your Hate Bear, and then just losing before the game comes back to you, turn comes back to you. So if you're going to play this Mono White Initiative, you got to be pretty careful about how you sequence this thing. So what we're going to try to do today is play a deck that this is much more of a one-sided card. You're going to do a very old-fashioned thing in Magic where you take a card that has an effect for both players, which is rare these days, and we're going to try and break it in one direction. So we're going to do kind of like what Bug does, which plays 4 main deck oof, and we're only going to play a scant package of artifacts. Pearl, Sapphire, Petal, Lotus. That's it. We're just playing our really broken on-color artifacts, and that's it. We don't have Deathrite Shaman like Bug does. We do have Ancient Tomb though, and you could play City of Traders in this deck, 1 or 2 as well if you wanted to. But we're just playing Ancient Tomb today. And we're just going to try and ramp into this. We got 8 ways of getting this out by turn 2. And we got a lot of counter magic to try and keep us alive if we're going to try and just play this later on turn 3. That's the idea. So we're going to try and build around playing this card without turning off, a bunch of artifacts that we use to ramp it out. And that's the idea. Now, we are playing another broken 3-drop here in Archon of Emeria. More Mono White Initiative tech. This one is another one that we can ramp out with the tombs, etc. Now, we're playing Archon because we're playing kind of a broken control deck here. We're trying to play a broken control deck here, but I think you could. I'm not convinced you need this in this slot here. This is our first try with this deck. I think this could be an engine. The one thing, we'll get to it a little bit later, but the one thing I feel like this deck is missing is an engine. We'll get to that. Psychic Frog was kind of the obvious one to put in the deck by splashing black, but Clarion Conqueror completely shuts down and is really great against Psychic Frog. We don't want that in our deck. And the other options, all of them aren't particularly good, or they cost, 3+ mana. Not a ton of good 1 and 2 drop engines out there, which is kind of why playing this alongside Clarion Conqueror, Archon of Emeria, might not be the right choice. So what we're doing today is playing this as kind of like a Delver-style tempo deck. We're just going to try and get our opponents dead. We're playing, our top end, really good flying, evasive Hate Bears here. These are the, probably the 2 strongest Hate Bears in the game. And then we're going to try and tempo our opponent out here. We got Guide of Souls, Ocelot Pride, the modern combo. And this one helps us with our curve a lot here. So I wanted early threats. in order to try and build up a mana curve here. And these are kind of good threats that we can play out early. I was considering just straight up Delver, like the actual Delver of Secrets card. I think this is better. There's other options, but like Nethergoyf. But you could splash black for yet Nethergoyf for Orcish Bowmaster or something to lower the curve here. But we're going with this, just trying to stick with blue-white for now. But this are, you know, this and the Drake we'll get to in a second are kind of flex spots. You can also kind of play with them as far as threats go and, you know, removal. We've got Mana Drain. So this doesn't stop triggered ability. So cards like Carpet of Flowers and Mana Drain play really nice with the Clarion. So, you know, you can do things like, you know, turn 2, you Mana Drain something on your opponent's turn, you untap, and then you can, you know, have mana for your Conqueror, stuff like that. And, you know, mana to play other spells. And then with Conqueror on the field, you can use Mana Drain to get yourself some extra mana. We're trying to play around with some, you know, triggered abilities that work with ramp here for the Clarion Conqueror. We've got Force of Will, Force of Negation. We're playing a kind of a tempo-y control deck. We're gonna, you know, need to disrupt our opponent's heavy hitters before we get these guys down and then protect them. Sink in the Stupor as a, you know, MDFC flex land, blue pitch card. Lavinia, this is another one I wasn't sure of. We're not playing Wasteland or Strip Mine, so Lavinia loses a lot of her effectiveness here. But I mean, Breach is a big deck in the meta right now. Beseech is, and this is just, I think the effect is good enough on its own that it's okay to include. I was seriously considering just going down to 1 in here. I don't think that's a crazy idea. And then we got the Volatile Stormdrake, which you've seen if you watched some of my other videos. Like I got a 4-1 with trying Pima Trailblazer out a couple of videos ago, a couple weeks ago in the last set. Nice 4-1 there with the energy, very energy focused deck, and Stormdrake was a key part of that. We're trying this again here. So this does a few things. So one, it's removal. I'm worried a little bit about our aggro matchup. So we've got, you know, Archon and Clarion, Forces, Lavinia, Drain. We've got a lot of stuff for the combo matchups. I'm a little worried about some of our creature matchups, like Mono White Initiative, Raker Shops, the kind of the aggro-y Raker Shops decks, and then Lurrus Control. You know, if they get a, you know, Frog down early and we don't have a Clarion Conqueror to shut it down, Frog, that's scary. So we're trying to hedge here with Volatile Stormdrake against removal. So what this does is, there's 2 modes for it really. If your opponent doesn't have a creature, you can just play this, which is pretty cool. It's a 3/2 evasive beater. So it's a pretty nice, reasonable cost to complement our other stuff if we don't need its removal ability. If you do want its removal ability, you can swap this creature with your opponent's creature, and you can pay energy equal to the mana value, or you can pay no energy and then just sacrifice the creature. So if you want to take their Psychic Frog or their Seasoned Dungeoneer, then yeah, pay the mana and keep the card. But we got a little cool plan here. We can just not pay the energy, let the creature die, and then bring back our Volatile Stormdrake after we let the opponent's creature die with the Homeward Path. And that's a pretty fun little combo there that was in that video, and I think one other video that I did before the Pima Trailblazer one. And that, you know, energy can also go towards pumping up Guide of Souls, which is pretty nice. So a little synergy there. Yeah, just blue-white. Trying to, we got basics in here, trying to get fairly solid mana base. Swords, you know, for the aggro matchups, aggro shops, Raker shops, Mono White Initiative, Lurrus Control, Containment Priest for Oath and Dredge, Grafdigger's Cage for Dredge, Mindbreak Trap to bring in against some of the combo decks. And this we're bringing back Still Moon Cavalier. So 2 of the decks that I'm worried about are Mono White Initiative and Lurrus Control, which we don't have an engine in the deck. I think the big thing this deck is missing is an engine. We just have to play a real Delver-style plan where we just kind of play threats and counter exactly what was going to kill us out of our opponents. You got to be really surgical when you're playing Delver. We're going to have to do the same thing today. where we only, you know, hit the cards that we really need and just kind of win on small margins here with our, you know, evasive creatures and, you know, threats and whatnot. So what I'm worried about there is that Mono White Initiative has, you know, some beefier creatures. They got things like Seasoned Engineer and stuff, auto removal, and Laris controls auto removal and stuff. I'm just trying to hedge against those two decks in particular by bringing back Still Moon Cavalier, which is one of my favorite cards in Vintage for when Laris Control after Saga was a big deck. I've really enjoyed playing this one, and it's a fun one to talk about. It's kind of a silly card, but it's really good at doing its job. We'll put it that way. But yeah, I think the big thing that this deck could use is an engine. I really don't know. Like, White Plume Adventure is kind of the obvious one. You could put some White Plumes in here. But the curve is just, it gets... I don't love the curve when you do that. It's, you know, it's... You're playing a bunch of... You'd have to trim Archons, probably, or move Archons to this sideboard to play the White Plume. I don't love that idea. I think I'd rather just play the Archon and see if we can get this kind of tempo plan working. If the tempo plan does work, we don't need an engine, that's great. I'm just not convinced that's really what's going on here. Maybe like Treasure Cruise Dread Return could work. Not Dread Return, Treasure Cruise Dig Through Time. I don't usually play those cards. Just kind of personal preference, but I think those are reasonable inclusions in here. Like maybe trim the Lavinias maybe for Treasure Cruise Dig Through Time could be an option. Yeah, I think there's ways to play around with it, or maybe like Lavinia, Ocelot Pride. Yeah, I'm starting to talk myself into that. I'm not going to change this now, but I think there are some ways to get card advantage or an engine in here. Yeah, overall, pretty happy with it. See how it goes in our first Tarkir Dragonstorm League. If you're still here, you know, like and subscribe. That's really appreciated. And then any questions or ideas for another engine or other ways to change this up, let me know down below. Always happy to hear from people. Alright, see you in round 1. We can keep this, I think. Actually, we're on the draw. Yeah. This is risky on the draw. I'm going to keep it though, but this could blow up in my face. On the play, I was happier with it. That's fine. Just want to get this down. They can wasteland it if they want to, but they're mono white initiative and they're trying to ramp something out. So what do you got? Yep. Well, they can hit the Flooded Strand now, which is annoying. They hit Flooded Strand and Wasteland, thus we just lose. Yep, they got the Strand. Alright, that was a good draw. I got another lands, that's bad for us. A lot of natural lands there. Sure. Can't block this one, right? Yeah. We can take the initiative. We get our planes. Ocelot Pride. And I'll play another Conqueror. Alright, let's see what they got here. They got another initiative guy, then we're in trouble. I think we can do this. We got a Dungeoner. Okay, we got punished. Fair enough. Fair enough. I guess we can do everything. But we want to... We have to take the Dungeoneer, but we want to get the initiative back before we do it. And then we can Stormdrake. Yes. And we got there. Okay. That worked out pretty good. I'll bring in the swords. Bring in the Still Moons. And I think on the draw at least I want the trap. Archons are a hot mess here. I'm gonna trim one fawn. Maybe it's the two fawns. I don't love Lavinia on the draw especially. I don't think I want all the Conquerors either. I like this art more. Maybe the fawn over one of the second Conquerors though. Hard to say. Yeah, I think the drain might be a bit slow. Got two drains actually. Conqueror's actually pretty reasonably costed at just flying elephants, aren't they? Yeah, I think I'm happy with this. Sure. That's bad. Do we just throw something into the wind here? I think we're just going to punt our kitty to get rid of the double triggers. No. Nope. 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 No, we have to hope. I don't know. I'm not sure what we're hoping for. What could they have in their hand? I don't understand this. Okay, removal makes sense. I've got 2 Chancellors, and I guess more removal. That would make sense to me. Alright, so do we want to... Kind of want to hold up the drain, don't I? We're holding up drain and Mindbreak Trap hardcast, so I think we just want to do that. Sure. 3, 4, 5, 6. So they're 1 off. Oof. Think we have to pass though. I do want to cast that. But I think we need to wait for them to make the first move here. Jeez. Well. Alright, I think we just go in with the Cavaliers. If I have a white mana source here, we are going to have to swords their guy, which is annoying. Alright, well this is good for us. Play the guide. I don't know what they have in their hand there. It must be removal. We only have 2 Chancellors, so they must also have removal in there. Drain that. The mana next turn. Portable hole, sure. Yep. Mana source would be nice. White. And these abilities require specific colors. We're not going to be able to use them. Maybe they've got, we know at least 2 Chancellors in their hand. I guess after that is removal. Interesting. Another Cavalier. I guess we can play it because you still hold up the Fawn with the other guy. We can hold up Fawn with the Lotus and Tomb there. White, white, blue, 2. And we got there. Alright. Yeah. 3 Chancellors and then the 2 swords to our pro white guys. So yeah, good game. Okay, here we go. Weird one. We don't have a white mana source, but we do have Force of Will, so I'm gonna keep it. We got a lot of good draws here. Basically any mana source is good, blue or white. We got a redraw in Time Walk if we need it. Sure. Alright, so they're either on Jewel Shops or Raker Shops. Alright. Try and find a blue mana source. Let's see if they got Force of Will back up. Oh, it's got another ring. Cool. We're in trouble. Oh boy. We're dead. Let's at least see if it's Raker Shops or Jewel first. Right now it could be either deck. Raker, okay. Think we can safely concede to that. Alright, we're lagging a bit here. Let's see if it lets us sideboard. Does not look like this is gonna let us sideboard. Lag is pretty bad right now. We can scroll, but like it's all gray here. We can't actually move cards in, which is frustrating. But we're just gonna wait to see, because sometimes it'll randomly let us do sideboarding, so we're just gonna wait to see if it lets us. I would like some swords in the Mindbreak Trap, so. Oof. Alright, we did not get the sideboard there. Fun. Fun, fun, fun. Alright, we'll keep that one. But there's still a lot of hands and whatnot that just beat us, but turn 1 Lavinia is not something I'm shipping, so. In case they got a bauble, I'm going to play this out. Okay. It's not good for us. The one of in that deck, that's a little unfortunate that they found that one. Sure. Just gonna keep the Stormdrake up and the Force of Negation. Okay. Maybe I should have forced negation that. I don't know. Sure. Okay. No, I should have, yeah. I should definitely counter this. Jeez. Lagging pretty bad. Making this tough. That is not a bad one. We'll mana drain that. Need a blocker here. So let's recall first. Let's make. We don't want to. I don't think we want to recall them, right? That seems crazy. We can hit them for 5. They take 1 on their turn, 6. 3 would be 9. It's not enough to kill them. So I think we just want to recall ourselves here. White. So I think I want to chump with the Lavinia, right? So I'm gonna let the Lavinia go through. Good, the other one can get a key. Key would kill us, so we have to let this one stick around. Let's see what they do here. Gonna grow their patchwork. Short. They can play that good encounter like Lavinia now too, which is true. Alright, there's a lot of like removal cards that could hurt us here. Alright, so we got that one. Pretty good. Let's go to game 3 and maybe we can sideboard. Please, MTGO, let me sideboard. I would like to bring in magic cards. This is part of the game. Please let me do it. Come on. Come on. Ugh. What else do we have in here? We got the Containment Priest, the Cages, the Cavalier, so... Yeah, it's the 2 swords and the trap I think I want. Lavinia does not do much against them. And the Ocelot Pride token thing, I don't think that works amazingly either. But I don't think we're gonna get an option here. This one's not amazing. I think it's a keep, though. We got a Force of Negation. We can sword something. Ocelot Pride, God of Souls. So I think we let it go. But this could bite us. I think we fight over that. I think it's the drain. We can't cast the drain right now. Ooh. Alright, let's see what they got. A blue or white land will let us cast a Lavinia, which would be pretty great. And a Crypt's a good one over there. Could use a Clarion thingy now. I guess that's our Clarion thingy, definitely our best draw. Clarion Conqueror. Yep. Clarion? Nope. So we want white here. We swords this guy. And then we pay blue. We still need one of those Clarion thingies. Actually, now that won't even do it, unfortunately. Now we're just in trouble. Now we're in a lot of trouble. Gonna fetch this now, might as well. Lagging, I don't want to forget it. Okay. Could have used a Clarion Conqueror a couple turns ago. Okay. Not quite dead yet. It's close, but not quite dead, so gonna let it go for a second. Yeah, having that combo to keep the manifold key. You tap the top, untap it with the key, retap it to draw. You get 2 cards. That's a nice combo to keep the Master Core around and still draw cards. Alright, that'll do it. Okay, here we go. We're on the draw. We have no Force of Will and 1 land. Our opponent's not on Luris, so I don't think this beats anything, so we're gonna mulligan that. Okay. Okay, we are now talking. This and get rid of the tomb. And hope that we don't have to force something on turn 1, because that makes this a lot worse action. Really wanted a blue mana source there. No blue mana source. Well, let's see if we can draw cards. You cannot draw cards. Okay. That's not good for us. We're in trouble. I think I am just going to thin the deck here. We're against, looks like, Beseech or Doomsday. This doesn't really thin the deck, like not in a meaningful way, but I'm going to give it a shot. Ah, crap, that's probably a dead draw. We're dead. We were pretty banking on that recall there. Please play a random main deck creature in your combo deck. Yeah, I could have used a mana instead of that swords, then we could have forced this thing. Maybe I shouldn't have fetched, because actually having a mana wasn't the worst thing in the world. Then my deck and got a swords. Stock up, Doomsday. What are we doing here? They got 2 blue and a black, so probably stock up. They seem to be struggling. Okay, we don't want to do anything. Fine. Yeah. So do we want a faster clock or do we want to hold Force of Will? Now, they have a bajillion cards in hand. I assume that they've got some sort of counter magic, so I'm going to try and just win because they don't seem to be able to do that yet. And I forgot that we don't actually get something from doing this, so that was stupid. I thought we were going to get... You only get the energy if you switch. We didn't swap, so we don't get the energy. So, I thought we were swinging for 3 there, and then potentially being able to grow our guy the turn after, but it didn't happen. Sure. They're binning counter magic. They probably have a chock full of that. That is not a bad card. Let's just swing first. We can't get to 3 energy. It only gets us to 2. We got a force. I already used one of them. We got a second force. Yep, they got a second force. Snap that off. Probe. Okay. We probably have a surveil land in here, maybe. Kind of feel like I want a surveil land. Blue. Dig. Yeah, we can't do anything about that. So presumably they just get Doomsday, and they play a land and cantrip and kill us. Okay. I didn't feel like killing us. Okay. Okay. You gotta consider. You got a Street Wraith. Yeah, let's see what they got here. They can combo through this. It's just kind of hard. They didn't have it. We got lucky there. But it's better to be lucky than good. Still Moon Cavalier, Cage, Priest, Swords. That's all no. We'll take out his swords. Priest, swords, Cage, Still Moon. I'm pretty sure it's Doomsday. We'll keep one swords because we aren't really well boarded for this, to be honest. They do sometimes bring in creature pivot plans, so we'll see if they do that. In that case, the swords is actually helpful. Alright. Let's give this a whirl. Well, my mana base was constructed perfectly. This is variance. Not me being an idiot. Yes, please. I don't think we need the Homeward Path. I think the Drake's just gonna get pitched. Flooded Strand. Probe. They know our hand. That's not good. They just have the combo with Force of Will backup, I guess. Dark Ritual. Doomsday. And you've got counter backup. No, we're just eating my... They, they tricked me. Alright. I have been tricked. Now I kind of wish I would have had a creature. Because I have no clock now. Having no clock is quite bad. Maybe I should not have pitched my creature. We weren't going to be playing around the Misstep anyway. That was going to get us regardless of our timing window, so that's fine. I guess we could have protected it on their turn with the Force of Negation, but I don't think I actually would have done that. I think we need the counters. But it would have been a consideration at least. Did they shuffle? They didn't shuffle, so they like their card. That's not good. Now they're... So they took one card and now they're shuffling. They are going to duress. Sure. What do you like? I assume you take the Force of Negation. Yeah, because take Drain, I draw a blue card, I can still pitch cast that. That's not bad. We at least have Drain up now. Which is better than having absolutely nothing up, I suppose. We still have no clock, and that's bad for us. We do need a threat. We need a threat. I want my dragon back. A threat. We have an Ocelot Pride. Fear our Ocelot Pride. I would like a better threat. I'll be more specific this time in my request. That will block our Ocelot Pride. So we have no clock if we don't counter this, because we can't swing. If we do counter it, they've got 3 cards in hand, and we could just die. Feels really greedy to counter it, but I think we let it go. It was seriously a consideration, though. I think we've only got one more good land to get off of this one, so we're just going to fetch it up. Yeah. Jeez. Okay. I think this only literally gets one land, so we're just going to grab it. Okay. Yep. Yep. This is terrible. This is such a sad game. Please don't give me another fetch land. Come on. Oh, wait, I have to. Oh, I forgot that I had to. That was dumb. Wait a minute. Because if you're no creature, you don't have to swap. I suppose I pay the 2 energy? At least they can't really attack us with they have 2 of these. Maybe they just go for it now. Black, black, black. Doomsday. And we have to counter it. Did we play into Flusterstorm? Okay, that was poor. Yeah, it's embarrassing, to be honest. We drew pretty poorly, but not great. Take a look at their deck before game 3. They didn't bring any creatures. So it's probably worth just having like Containment Priest in over other stuff. So wouldn't have played the Thassa's Oracle. We would have just won this game, which is pretty funny. Could have just swung for 4. Don't think that does anything. Yeah. Yep. Alright, that was bad. Alright, I'm going to take out this swords for the, I suppose, marginally better Containment Priest here. That was awful. Embarrassing. We did draw every land under the sun, but still. Yes, I would like to play this time. Yeah, our mana base has some problems. I think it's risky, but I think we just try and go crazy with the tempo plan here. Alright. We're just going to try and tempo them out. See how that goes. Wow. I think we forced that. That leaves us with nothing, but I don't like our other plans. We swing for 3, we make a guy, we swing for 4, then they cast Doomsday, we kill them, so there is some logic here. Not much, but there's a little bit. Okay, well, that's pretty funny. Alright, well, I will take it. Yeah. Okay, we're on the play for this one. Let's see how we go. Yes, please. Keep. Please be on some sort of combo that just rolls over to Archon. That would make my life easier. Thank you. We got Mindbreak Trapped. Let's try and recall here. Do they have Trap and Force? Okay. Alright, we've been bested. Okay, we're against Squee, I guess. Jeez. Okay, our hand wasn't enough. Sure. Oh, jeez. Yeah, that. Okay. Fair enough. You got it. I mean, we can play a one-sided Clarion Conqueror that has no text in this matchup. Artifacts, creatures, and planeswalkers, none of which in their deck are remotely relevant. Can we get a Lavinia? Lavinia, I mean, they can still bring back their Vengevines, but Lavinia would, like, at least be a somewhat reasonable card. I think we just play the Stormdrake and attack. Gonna try and be aggro. Yeah, if you want to counter my Stormdrake, you can counter my Stormdrake. I shall not stop you. Now they get the Squee engine going, so now we're just screwed. Because very soon, if not this turn, they will be bringing back hasty Vengevines. And that shall be bad for us. Do you want to counter my kitty cats? We're so dead. It doesn't. we're incredibly dead. Does not really matter what we do at this point. Yep, that's the first creature. And then they play the hollow one. Or a subtlety. That works. Now they swing. Swing, swing, swing. Mm-hmm. I guess that blocks a guy. I don't know if that's even good. Yeah, we're still dead. It doesn't really matter, but we do get okay, now we are determinist. No, actually we get our guy, so we aren't literally dead yet. We will get our token and chump. We shall chump block. And chump block we shall. So we get the token that can block, and we have the 3/3. So I think we just swing right now. I want my... This one I was considering holding back, but I kind of want to try and push the damage through. Alright, they get their guys back. So we have to chump. You got a hollow one? No. Interesting. Interesting. So we have to hold back our Stormdrake here. I guess we don't have to, but I'm going to. They can bring back the Vengevine here with double creature. Double hollow one? No, doesn't look like it. Alright, so this is an interesting question here. Do I want to chump with the kitty cat token? Or do I want to trade? Because in theory, next turn we could untap swing. They go to either 4 or 3, depending on what they block. We could trade, untap, we swing for 2. They go to 5, we get a guy. I think it takes too long if we trade. I think we have to try and chump here. Not 100% on this. If you do this differently, let me know. I'm curious. What you got? Drain that. Now they probably have a force of will or a subtlety they're considering. Oh, they get the bet back the. One target. Wait, what is the? I think they can put the hollow one back on top, is it? So what are they targeting? The hollow on the bottom of their library. Okay. We need some help here now. That would kill us. So we're going to force of will that. That does not help. They swing. Yeah, it's just. We held this back for a turn when we didn't have to. I think it killed us, unfortunately. I think this was just me screwing up. I'm a bit sad. I don't think anything we can draw. There's only anything point in playing it out more, but I guess just to show you, we'll play it out. That's sad. Because we have to trade, and then we have to jump here. I don't know. I guess if we did runner, Clarion, Archon, or something, we could. There may be some silly scenario that gets us through this, so we're gonna keep playing, but it's not looking good. I feel like we could have won this one with if I would have played more aggressively, which is usually my style. Unfortunate. And the force of will put us low enough in life. If we had one more life, we're at 4. We could chump here because of the stupid force of will. Maybe we shouldn't have forced it. Yeah, maybe we shouldn't have forced it, because what we could have done, is chump blocked here, gone up to 5 life, just taken this gun down to 1, and then we could just keep making blockers. And I think I actually screwed this up to the point of losing it. That's annoying. Yeah, I didn't think of that. I did not think of that. And we're still in a bad spot, but we could have, could have got out of it. Oof. Okay. Yeah, we're better suited here for we're better suited here for Dredge than we are this deck. Yeah, I don't think we really want the Force of Wills, I guess. No, I want the Sink in the Stupor. That's not supposed to be coming out. It's just a 3/3 body, which does stuff. I think I actually just want the 3/3 body. Okay. That's frustrating. I feel like we could have had that one. We had such a good start too, but their start was bunkers as well, so. Oh, they kept 7 again. Ugh. Ugh. Alright. Oh well. Just go turn 1. Oh, no, they've got 7. We're dead. It's okay. Yeah, I wish I had Tavi. You got a Vengevine, sure. Yeah, that's a problem. And they got to squeeze it back at it. We're so dead. Yeah. We'll give this a whirl. It probably gets countered, but we don't really have anything else going on. Yeah, 2 cards in the graveyard's a problem now. They're actually, their Bazaar is turned into a card advantage engine, and we have no way of stopping that. We're really not built to beat Countervine. It's not frequently played, and I'm just hoping to dodge it. I mean, thank you, Mr. Zol, or thank you, Zol. I don't know if it's a Mr. I don't think that really matters, though. I'm so dead. Brutal. Okay. I don't know. Let's start grabbing our last 2 lands. We just got swamped here. I mean. Try and get rid of this guy. I'm just gonna fetch my planes. And we pass. And die. Yeah, we're just not super well set up for Countervine. But that's okay. It's a fraction of a percent play in the meta. Not gonna... It gets punished pretty badly by Lurrus Control, which is still arguably the top deck and one of the most played in challenges, so you still definitely play against it in leagues. I don't think it's so bad to just try and ignore it, but obviously if you play it and you run into a bunch of people with that strategy, you can just win. It's very much a reasonable thing to do. That literally can't grab any lands. I should just scoop. I'll let them have fun for a little bit longer. Okay, that's good enough for me. Good game. Okay, here we go. I think we keep it. It's not amazing, but turn 2 Conqueror with the Force of Will backup could win games. So we've got the Drake combo. Let's see what they got for us, though. So we're just going to go Flooded Strand pass. That gives us the most options there. And presumably we're just going to try and slam Conqueror off the Ancient Tomb then. But let's see what they do. This is the little combo here where you use Drake, swap it, sack the creature, and then you get back your Drake with the path. So we got anti-combo and anti-creature kind of strategies here. They didn't reveal Lurrus, so We got stuff against Mono White Initiative, we got stuff against other decks, so I think this is my favorite of the arts for the Clarion Conqueror there. Alright, that's all we got. I guess our opponent must be double queuing or something. They got some long pauses here. Ruby, Pearl, Soul Ring, White Plume Adventure. We will try and remove that, pitching our mana drain. Strip Mine. I think we get this one because there's no guarantee that they actually hit us with the strip, so. Okay, we just pass here. They can double hit us, which is annoying. Oh, we should have swung first. They can now Solitude us. We can't do anything about that. We could have hit them for 3. This was just a punt. Embarrassing. Yeah, now they can Solitude us. Ugh. I doubt it'll matter how this game plays out, but I mean it could. The 3 damage could matter. And this is more valuable than this by far, so we should have swung, tried to protect it, they Solitude it, and we forced. That was just a punt. That was just bad play. Yeah, it was just... I could make an excuse. I don't play with these cards often, which is true, and never this one before. This is obviously brand new, but this was just... Should have thought about it for 2 seconds. So. Alright, let's see if we get super duper punished here. So presumably no, because they wouldn't have given us the damage otherwise. Alright, we got that one. so how did we board last time? We brought in the swords. I do like trap on the draw. And then we've got our Cavaliers. Don't love the Archons. I think Lavinia is pretty bad, especially on the draw. I think the Drains are ambitious with their mana denial plan. But the Fawns obviously aren't great either, but I do kind of want one in case we can, now maybe I do want the Fawns. I do want the, Drain. Does Lavinia on the draw do anything? I guess some of their, like, mana-heavy removal spells it kind of stops. No, maybe this should just be a Fawn. I think on the draw I'll do it this way and just try and snipe some of their mana. On the play I'll probably bring back in something else to drain maybe. I don't. I think this is okay. I think we keep it. I don't love it. I don't love any of our hands, but yeah. Okay. Cavern and Chancellor. Quite the combo. I think we save that. Okay. Maybe we should use the strand to play around Witch Enchanter. Sure. I think we just want to get our tokens going, so I'm gonna swords this. Yep. Okay. Then we got our guy. Let's see what they got for us. They can wasteland us, that's fine. Archon of Absolution. Sure. Um, I think we just swap it and swords it. Yes. Yes. Get rid of that. We'll just swing with the team. Attack with all of them. Alright, you got it. Do your worst. Alright, what you got there? Okay, 3-2 here overall with blue spells, white dragon, and our first try with the new dragons, Tarkir Dragonstorm card, so, not bad. I think, pretty reasonable showing for the deck. Probably going to swap these two leagues to this matches first. Probably watch this one first because this is the match against Raker shops where I was lagging too hard to the sideboard, and that was probably not the best, watching me sit there for 3 minutes complaining about that. But yeah, let's go over the games here. We beat Mono White Initiative twice, which is pretty good. We're very much we have a lot of tools for combos, so it's actually really nice to see that we're able to beat Mono White Initiative. I think that deck, Raker Shops, and the Luris Control, a lot of our cards aren't going to be... Didn't think they were going to be super amazing against them, so actually seeing that Mono White's, maybe not the worst matchup, actually maybe decent, because we got a 4-0 is pretty cool to see. We also beat Doomsday in a very weird game. We got a lot of tools for the matchup, but they can also just win through us. It was good getting that win there too. I think we could have won game 2 if I was maybe played a little smarter there. The one against Raker Shops here, we weren't able to sideboard, but I don't think that really changed the outcome. We just got blown out by the game 3 by the Masticore. I think that's a bad matchup. I'm not sure exactly what to do about that. We've got the Clarions are good in the matchup. They shut down all their artifacts. They shut down the top stuff. They shut down the what's it called again? The ring stuff, which is probably their most powerful kind of things they can do. So that's good, but we can't. We do have removal. We have swords. We have the drakes. I guess we have pretty decent play to it, but it still feels kind of scary. Maybe it's not as bad now that I'm thinking about it for a couple seconds here. Maybe it's not quite as bad as I was thinking about it before. But it's definitely not like a great matchup yet. It's probably pretty close. I think we need to test it more. I think I would try and think about building the deck or maybe some of the sideboard a bit more to try and hedge against. I'm not entirely sure how we do that, but I think it's definitely a serious deck still in the meta. Even though people are all gunning for it right now as the top deck on Goldfish, I do think could put some effort into trying to clear that up a little bit. And then we just got demolished by Countervine, which is expected. We aren't prepared for Countervine. It's less than 1% of the meta, and there's a lot of no Wasteland decks popping up, so people are playing it from time to time now, and like Montolio just won an LCQ with it, so you will see it from time to time. So we probably are disrespecting the deck too much here. We don't have Wasteland Strip Mine, we don't have Leyline of the Void, we don't have Tabernacle, and that's probably not acceptable if you're going to respect Countervine. I do think still trying just to dodge it is okay. We're playing a reactive deck here, and if you're going to play a reactive deck, you can't react to everything in Vintage. And I think we're pretty reasonable against Dredge, and Dredge is by far the more heavily played graveyard deck. We have a lot of tools there, and I like the Priest because even Oath is played quite a bit more than Countervine still. So I don't think that just trying to dodge Countervine's just a terrible plan. It's not like we guarantee we're going to lose. Like, these cards are good in the matchup. We almost won game one, I think, if I would have just attacked that one turn instead of playing defensive. We might have just won that game. And they needed a 7 with both Force and Mindbreak Trap to stop us game one there. We would have just won basically turn one with the turn one Archon with Force backup off the recall. If you want to watch game one of the round 4 against Countervine, just the opening hand, the opening salvo there, turn was pretty crazy. Lots of stuff going on. We had turn 1 Archon with Force of Will backup and recall, and we did not quite win that game, which I guess because they forced it and trapped it. But overall, pretty happy with the deck. I think it does need an engine. I think the Goddess Souls Ocelot Pride Stormdrake packages. They're powerful cards, but they're kind of pet cards of mine. If you replace those with things like White Plume Adventurer, I'm not sure what else, but some other stuff, I think you can make this more powerful. Yeah. I think there's different things you could do. Maybe, let's try to think, because the biggest thing is that you don't really want to make the curve too high. We've already got Archon and Clarion, and we don't want to play a bunch of Moxen because of the Clarion, so you really want to keep the curve low. So, like, maybe Doorkeeper Thrall Dreadnought could be an option. Maybe Curie, too. Maybe that kind of Dreadnought Curie. What is it? The other card that I just mentioned that combos with Phyrexian Dreadnought, Doorkeeper Thrall, yeah, could be a reasonable package to try in here. There are like blue looters and draw spells kind of things I think could be put in here too, like Malcolm. Orcs are still around, but they're kind of lower than they were when they were super oppressive. So maybe trying out Malcolm is not the dumbest thing in the world. Yeah, there's things you can do here. I think these are obviously flex slots and kind of pet cards of mine. I like them. They did work here in this league, but then there were also times where we just kind of played a cat and it looked silly. So if you want to swap these out, that's completely reasonable. But I think like the Drains, the Archons, the Forces, the Clarions, and the Ancient Tomb mana base here, maybe probably add like another City of Traders or two, maybe. If you take out the Homeward Path, you could add like a City of Traders or two. I think that could be pretty solid. Yeah. I want to try Voice of Victory next. They were just a little expensive. That's the card I'm most excited about in the new set, Voice of Victory. But they were a little expensive. Everybody else agrees that it's a good card. So I'm just waiting for them to come down a little bit to pick them up. But probably going to be one of my next couple tries, maybe on Sunday. Alright, if you're still watching, like, comment, subscribe. That's all really appreciated, and see you next time.